Jupiter ki Shubhkamnaएं to all of you. Welcome to Filmi Ladies. We are Pithu and Beth. And today, with the blessings of Isis, we are going to talk about a very filmy lady who was actually a very famous historic personality that I'm sure you've heard of, played by another very filmy lady, whom I'm sure you have also heard of, in a movie that is just 50% historical, 50% imaginary, and 100% masala. This movie also has two very nice actors in it. There's Rex Harrison and then there's Mark Anthony. Mark Anthony is played by Richard Burton, who was, of course, the real life filmy Jodie of our heroine that we're going to discuss today, which is, of course, Elizabeth Taylor, who is playing the very, very glamorous Cleopatra. Beth and I have been talking about watching this movie and talking about it for almost 2 years now, which is kind of crazy. And we're so excited. We're finally getting to talk about her. And I feel like both of us had to really control ourselves and not just like message each other constantly while we were watching this movie because there was so much to talk about and we had to save it for the podcast. Before I let Beth tell us about the synopsis of the story, I am just going to quote one of the great intellectual minds of our time, our very own Paris Hilton. And I'm just going to say, loves it. So, Beth, can you give us a brief synopsis of this wonderful, magical movie?
I'll sure try. And this is where being a museum educator hopefully will help because I have actually talked to many people about the history of ancient Egypt. We'll see. So it's 48 BCE, and Julius Caesar is in Egypt and needs the grain from Egypt to support the Roman army, gets in cahoots with, uh, gets rid of the sort of puppet king of Egypt, Cleopatra's brother, who is quickly dispatched, and Cleopatra
He's so
becomes
spoiled.
so spoiled. He's so awful. So we have a nice little sibling rivalry at the beginning because she's off somewhere else with her armies and like they're not getting along. So Caesar gets rid of him. She's in power. They fall in love, question mark, become a obviously real life historical couple. Uh, they have a son together, which he does not have with his legal Roman wife. There's all sorts of escandalo because she's foreign and exotique and not very Roman. And then, of course, he gets stabbity by people on the Ides of March. And then we fall into the next, and that's the intermission. That's interval is stab. And then we get the next phase, which is Mark Antony, one of the people who kind of took over after Caesar. And there's also Octavian, who becomes the Emperor Augustus. Those two are enemies, even though they were kind of on the same side at the beginning. They were both pro Caesar. Mark Antony is again gotten a chunk of the eastern edge of the Roman holdings at this point. It's not really an empire quite yet, but whatever. He also needs help from Egypt. Then he and Cleopatra fall in love. If you don't know, Egypt is an incredibly rich culture for an incredibly long time, and they have a very regular surplus of grain. They are breadbasket for a chunk of the world. And so that is why Rome and other people also always want Egyptian loot. But they also have gold and other good food supplies. They have the regular flooding of the Nile, which means that their crops are reliable. Um, Incredibly fascinating culture, of course, and also incredibly fun to represent on film, as we've sort of discussed here and there over the years. And there is nothing like an ancient Egyptian historical drama to me. I love them. I can't believe I've never seen this film. Um, my dad was actually a Roman historian, so I wish he is no longer alive, but if he was, I would have asked him all about this film, and I wish I had had that opportunity. Um, I loved absolutely everything about this. It's like the greatest thing I've ever seen. So my new list of favorite historical films is like films about history, right? Is like Cleopatra and then Sikander. Like they're like neck and neck. This one maybe wins because it's in color.
Yeah.
And therefore is even more spectacular. But like Sikander, which we both love, everything about this is physical and real because it's from 1963. So there is no computer
Mhm.
generated crowd or elephant or crocodile or naval battle. The naval battle,
Mhm.
the grand entry scene, which is behind
It's
me, where
amazing.
when Cleopatra comes to Rome to live sort of as the guest of, haha, Julius Caesar. She makes the grandest entry of anyone I've ever seen in anything.
Yeah.
Joda Akbar could never.
I was literally humming Azimo Shan Shah.
It's like that. All the
Yeah.
dancers and the puffs of smoke and people carrying giant glittering chandeliers and feathers and every kind of dance and all sorts of a rainbow of people from different
Yeah.
parts of, I assume, Africa and the ancient, the Eastern Mediterranean. Just, and you can see her here in my background, like she's on top of this little thing at the paws of a. I've been told recently this is not technically a sphinx, but that's what the Greeks called it, so that's what we call it in
Oh,
English. The Egyptians didn't. That's not their word. Anyway, so the thing I would have called a sphinx, there she is in the gold there. Amazing dialogues, the most amazing set design I think I have ever seen in a film with lots of recognizable historical precedents. Accurate? Don't know. Little suspect. I'm like, I think that's Minoan, but she would have known about Minos, so like that's
right.
fine. Or Minos. The clothing, she's got a different outfit on in every scene, as do most of the men as well, many of them anyway. Um, the glaring, the stomping, the shouting, the drama, the illegitimate marriages, the stabbings. I mean, if there's one thing we know about, I was hearing some other people talk about ancient Rome the other day, and they were like, "We've tried nothing, and we're all out of ideas, so let's just stab him." Like that is, you know, people falling on their own swords, fighting, deserts, oceans, temples, palaces, sidewalks, giant gongs shaped like crocodiles, giant pillars, giant caryatids, giant. Everything about
Oh,
this is turned up to 11. It is
yeah.
super solid. It is super golden. I loved absolutely everything about it. And of course,
Mhm.
the queen of all, Elizabeth Taylor, is presiding over everything majestically. The one
Right.
complaint have about this film is I'm not actually sure that it's about Cleopatra,
Okay.
right? It's more about the Roman dudes.
Yeah.
Like
It's
if you added up the dialogue time, I don't even think she would get the most, right? But she's the central figure for sure. But like in terms of what is this about, I think you could argue it's not really as much about her as it is some other things, but it is also about her. I don't want to say it's not
mhm,
about her, but like this is many people's stories using her as kind of the frame, and you
the
definitely,
conduit.
I think that you would have to be rooting for her. How could you
Mhm.
not? How could you
I
not?
know.
Anyway, I've spoken for like 10 minutes straight. Please tell me what you thought of this amazing film.
It was amazing. So I had never seen Cleopatra,
Mhm.
but I have, of course, being a fashion nerd, seen so many photos of all like the costumes that you wore in it, and I have seen that scene that's in the screenshot behind you of her like entry. I seen that on YouTube, like just that one clip, and I thought it was so
I
amazing.
don't think I had. I'm like, where have I been my whole life?
It was amazing, like with the gold and everything. And I had heard of Irene Sharaff, who is the costume designer for this movie, and she did win an Oscar for her
Right.
work in costume design. So she designed 65. Well, she designed more than 65 costumes, but like if you're counting look tests and everything, but 65 costumes were worn by Elizabeth Taylor in this movie, and the cost of the costumes alone was 200,000 US dollars back then, like in the
Here in
early
the 60s.
60s. And the gold outfit that she's wearing in the scene behind you, like the whole golden thing, that actually was the most expensive outfit that they made because they used real 24 karat gold to use the fabric. Like it's fabric, but it has some 24 karat gold in it. And the things on her sides, those sort of loops, were meant to mimic a phoenix's wings. So just absolutely magnificent costume design. And I had never seen this movie, although I'd been intrigued by it. My husband had seen it when he was a child, and he said, "Oh my God, you're going to watch Cleopatra? I'm going to watch it again with you. That movie's a doozy." And we had such a good time. Um,
I want
it's
to see
very
this on the big
masala.
screen so badly.
I know.
And my local park district owns a 1920s movie palace that is restored. Now it's not as palatial as this, but it's pretty lovely. So I feel like, and they do classic films. So I want to write to them and be like, please show Cleopatra. I know it's
I know,
forever, so
seriously.
please, please.
Yeah, so there's the Castro Theater here in San Francisco, and then there's another theater down in Palo Alto where they show like basically only really show like old movies, and I want to like get on their like watch like their mailing list or something and see if
Yeah.
they're going to show like Cleopatra, because this would be so good to watch on the full screen. I mean, I had a good time just watching it on YouTube as well, but still, um, I think to me what was the most interesting about this film was like the love triangle aspect. And I kept thinking of how she essentially was like a sugar mommy to both Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. Like these dudes are so full of themselves and they're like, I'm Julius Caesar, and like, I'm Mark Antony, and they think they're so important, and the Senate is so full of themselves as well in Rome, and yet they're constantly approaching Cleopatra with like a begging bowl in hand, and it's kind of like, I don't think you dudes are as powerful as you seem to think you are.
He makes them kneel. Oh, I
I
love
loved
makes them kneel, physically kneel.
I had shivers down my spine in that scene where Mark Antony is like, oh, like stomp, stomp. And I'm like, you were literally asking this woman for money and so that she can keep you in power. I think you should have a little more humility, Mr. Mark Antony. And I was like, Cleo, don't give in to him. And then she was like, kneel. And I was like,
Caesar knelt. Kneel.
it was so amazing. It was just very gratifying to watch, and I absolutely loved Liz Taylor in this. Like, I'm the only other person, because I read about all the actresses they thought about casting for
Ah,
this movie, and some of the names I was like, whatever. But they did consider Sophia Loren. And I was like, ooh, she would have made a really good Cleopatra too, because like she was so like regal and statuesque. And I think she would have brought that same amount of fire. But
is
I
a
think
better
Liz is more
actor.
icy.
Yeah.
But Liz is more icy,
Yeah.
and I feel like that icy, very haughty Cleopatra was really enchanting to watch. And I think like even the way she carries herself in every scene, and those costumes by Irene Shroff, it's like everything is all like flowy, like lots of caftans and things like that, but that tiny nipped in waist and the plunging necklines and all of the gold and the wigs,
And the
I
wigs
mean,
and all the hair and all kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger as she got.
yeah. And then the blue eyeshadow and the cat eyeliner. I mean, it was all just like really awesome to watch. And I actually really enjoyed the sandals and skirts that the
Oh
men were wearing.
yeah.
Also, is it
Legs for
me?
days.
Yes, but is it me, or was Richard Burton's skirt the
I
shortest?
think it was the shortest.
It was so short. I was like,
I
sir, that
wonder
is
if
a
Liz
micro
was
mini. What
like,
are you doing?
as she starts to get interested in him, and she's like, I
Exactly.
sat up by half an inch every day.
I was like, what is that hemline, sir? You are
It is
indecent.
not below his fingertips. He is being sent home from school.
I mean, Caesar looked practically decent compared to Mark
He
Antony.
was
I
like
was
healing.
like, yeah, like Caesar was very like decent and like,
A little
like an
older.
older man and everything. And he's like, I don't need to show no leg. But Mark Antony is like, I'm gonna show leg. And like even the costumes that the men were so much fun. There was this turquoise and leopard number that Mark Antony wore that I was just like, oh
And
my
then
God.
she's complimenting on him, and he says, "Oh, it's Greek. I love all things Greek." She's like, "Oh, basically Greek
I'm
myself."
mostly Greek, yeah. It was really fun. And I was very enamored of
Yeah.
Liz Taylor as
Oh,
Cleopatra,
yeah.
but I also really, really like Richard Burton and Rex Harrison too. And these are two actors that I have no opinion of. Like
Mhm.
I've seen Liz Taylor's other movies, and I really like her in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, but I have never seen a Burton movie before this, not to my knowledge, and I don't think I've seen anything with Rex Harrison in it either. But I
You
really
haven't
like
My
them as
Fair
well.
Lady.
Oh, I have seen My Fair Lady. Oh, right, he's the professor.
Mhm.
Okay, right.
He's way
Very
better
hard
in
for
this.
my brain to remember Professor Higgins and
Julius
Caesar.
Caesar. He's way better in this. I didn't know he was in this, and when I saw him, I was like,
Mm,
"Oh, I don't really like Rex Harrison." But then
yeah,
I thought I really enjoyed. Yeah, I enjoyed all three of them very much.
I like the love triangle aspect of it. I like the power dynamic, and although Cleopatra's life was very glamorous, and I love that little bath that she would take, like with the little boat that has the perfumed oils in
That
it.
little golden ship, and then like they cut, and it's like her
I
actual
loved
work.
it. All of that was so amazing. I was like, girl, you're so extra. Like she was that girl.
She's
Um,
stressed.
it was so amazing.
And the
But
women
they
back in Rome are just like,
They're so plain.
dowdy marms. Like it's so funny. It's not that the actresses aren't pretty, but it's just like they're so sedate compared to her.
Well, when Mark Anthony marries Octavia, and like she's like this very like she's very ghrelu, like she's a very ghrelu person that I can just imagine being like, would you like some tea? Would you like some dal chawal? Like, she's very dal chawal. And then I kept missing Cleopatra because I was like, boy, if you're in love with that lady, like there's no way you're gonna be happy with Octavia. And she knows. Like she's just not
And it didn't even
extra.
politically accomplish what they hoped it would anyway, really.
Yeah.
Or
So
did
that
they?
was
Yeah,
really
I
fun.
didn't like it.
It was just fun. Honestly, it was just fun. I think one of my biggest complaints about historical epics, and I don't have this complaint about Sikandar because I think that movie is also a lot of fun, is that a lot of times they're so boring. There's a lot of exposition. There's a lot of let us explain to you from the history books, and everyone's acting often tends to be very like wooden and stoic, and everyone's like, they're acting and stuff like that. And this and often they're just not enjoyable, and this one was just so much fun to watch. And even though there was a lot of history being shoved down our throats and a lot of the power struggles and the Senate and the da da da, I think they did a very good job of letting us know the linear sequence of events, and this happened and then this happened and this is why they needed this and da da da, without really just shoving it down our throats. They did it in a creative enough fashion that I didn't feel like I was being talked down to, but also I was being given the context that I
And
needed.
I felt like they did such a great job of making it very clear where they were and who was who
Yeah,
with, again, with costume, with set, with dialogue, with all these things.
yeah.
I was never
There's
confused. There were times where I'm like, I'm not going to absorb all this detail.
yeah,
But I was not confused. Now, yes, I know this history a little bit, but not really. Like I
yeah,
did have Wikipedia open to be like,
yeah.
anymore, but
Right. Yeah, I didn't feel like they bogged us down too much into that anyway, because like, listen, if you just want like a lesson on Roman history or Egyptian history or whatever, you can just watch a documentary, right? Like that's not why we're watching this movie. So I thought it was a lot of fun. um I did think a lot of times that the life of a queen or a king in that time just sounds really not fun to me.
no, not at all.
The constant machinations and the constant like Cleopatra, at least the way she's portrayed in this movie, right? Like her constant obsession with creating a legacy and a dynasty with Julius Caesar, where their children will jointly rule Egypt and Rome. I can see how that would be so appealing, especially because she keeps referring to Alexander, who was her like ancestor. I get it, but also, girl, just enjoy your life.
Not
Just
enough.
vibe. Just wear your beautiful glamorous outfits. You have so much money, you have so much gold, you have literally no man telling you what you can and cannot do. Just have fun. But like, no,
Vibe.
she can't have fun. Just vibe. She doesn't want to vibe.
They don't vibe. Well, if Rome is trying to get its hooks into you, you gotta
Mm.
look sharp, right? So
Yeah.
it was a very, I think, and what I did, I knew she was towards the end of the Ptolemaic reign in Egypt. Her
Yes.
son is the last one, and that's it.
Hmm. Yep. And
Anything that
he,
thing is kind of over
yeah,
for the
and he
ancient.
was killed by Octavian actually.
Yes.
So
Can
that
we
was it.
talk about, so, okay, two things. One, in the beginning of the pandemic, I finally watched I, Claudius. Have you seen I,
Oh, I have
Claudius?
not. Mm-mm.
I love it.
Oh, I will. Okay.
And these British actors, doing a mini series about the Emperor Claudius, and it starts, with an aging Augustus, played by
Mm.
Brian Blessed,
Okay.
bellowing his heart out, and it's amazing. So this is, a little bit before that, where we have young Augustus, played by Roddy McDowell, who is such a sniveling little, oh, he's so awful. They really demonize Augustus. And I don't know this history or have not read the actual sources myself well enough to really have an independent opinion of Augustus. I think he's, you know, complicated and not my favorite, that's for sure. Now, is there a favorite Roman emperor? I don't know. They're all pretty horrible.
Certainly not Caligula
It, you know,
or Tiberius.
they're all
They all
pretty
sound terrible.
right. Right. But oh, I just thought they did such a good job at making him such a little shitty weasel. Oh, I hated him so much. And my favorite person other than Cleo was Rufio, played by Martin Landau.
Oh my God, I loved Rufio.
Good. Like this guy who's under Mark Antony, like kind of one of his what generals or whatever. That I don't know the levels of all these people. He
Hmm.
was very compelling at first. I was like, I don't know about that, but the more I like, the more he was on screen, the more I really liked him. I loved her tutor, her
Hmm.
like history advisor guide. I forget.
Saranjini, whatever. Sasajanis.
So great. Yeah, so even the secondary characters in this are pretty freaking amazing. And some of the other
Yeah.
residents who are, making funny jokes about Caesar and, oh, who's his whore, and things.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
wouldn't be saying about any woman, I think, other than the one he's actually married to. So
Yeah.
uh, it was all just super fascinating. And I love how one of the things I love about the ancient Mediterranean world, and this obviously does extend to India, which okay, fine, it's not on the Mediterranean, but like that giant swath,
Right.
kind of the middle of the globe in the west in the Eastern Hemisphere, right? Like it's so cosmopolitan.
Yeah.
There are people from everywhere intermixing, and
Hmm.
you know, I was thinking about real life. I'm like, what language did they speak together? Were they all speaking Latin? Like when she's talking to Julius Caesar, what is she speaking? What is it?
Greek? Well,
Yeah, maybe they're
they
both
wouldn't
speaking
speak Greek.
Greek. Are they both speaking Latin? I don't know. I can't imagine
I
he's
have no idea.
Egyptian. She knows many languages, like
She spoke like seven, I think.
incredibly educated and smart. Oh, it's just so amazing. And we haven't gotten to like how true is this? I don't care.
I don't care either.
Story-wise, it all made sense. It touched on some real things, gave, ish endings. We don't know where Cleopatra's tomb is, for example. So for all we
Hmm.
know, it does look like the thing. I'm sure it doesn't look exactly like the thing in the movie, but it's
Right.
like, so like, yeah, it's just all this sort of they just had so much fun with it. And I was
Augustus, like that casting surprised me because I have heard of Augustus as like being like the greatest, like he was like the first
first
Roman emperor.
emperor.
Because
Yeah.
until him, they were all just Caesars, which was not emperor. Like he was the first one. So I was like, oh yeah, Augustus, Augustus, Augustus. And then they have this snivelly looking brat that's like with his awful like blonde perm, and I
That
was
horrible
just
blonde
like,
hair. Oh, it's so
I hated
horrible.
his blonde hair. And I was like, I didn't like him. And I was just like, is he stupid? But no, he was actually super crafty,
No, he's very
really
crafty.
smart. And I think he takes advantage of how he is underestimated. I think that casting was actually brilliant. Like, yes, if you are not the the most imposing and the most powerful, and people are laughing at you, and like there's so many jokes that they keep making about him, about how he doesn't have a beard, and there's kind of jokes and implications that he's like effeminate, or like maybe they're implying he's gay
Like
or
during
something.
the naval battle, he's below decks on a bed, like face down. I assume he's seasick. I'm not even
Seasick.
sure what exactly was going on there, but like, and the guy who comes to give him a message is like, ugh,
Yeah. Which is why I was so puzzled at first. I was like,
Yeah,
Augustus, wasn't he supposed to be a
very
big deal? Like he was the
synchronized.
first emperor. Why is he like this? Like that's so weird. But
Yeah.
that's because like he's literally craftier and smarter and shrewder and doesn't let his ego get in the way. Whereas you see Mark Anthony and so many of the decisions he made, I was like, are you crazy? Like that scene where they have that battle, and then Mark Anthony was like, Cleopatra, and he's going after her. And literally, one of the generals is like, your men need you. The
Yeah.
dying are calling for you, and the living are looking for their commander. Where are you off to? And he's like, I have to. I'm like, really? You're
Wasn't
going to
that a
desert?
moving scene? And I
It
wasn't, it
was
wasn't like I'm
terrible.
inspired by their love. I was just like, this guy's great. This guy's lost it.
No, he's lost it. He's going to lose all respect in the eyes of his men.
Oh
And what a
yeah.
terrible thing to do. Like, you're the commander of your armies, and they are
Sails
being
past all those
routed.
those sailors in the water who are like yelling out for him and waving for him, and he just
And he's just like, bye, I got to go to my girlfriend. I was like, "Ugh, you were in so much trouble. You suck." Meanwhile, she left. And then he's so mad
right.
at her. He's like, I came after you, and like you left. She was like, they told me you were dead. Like she's the one who comes across as like sensible and rational. And he just sounds crazy. Did you enjoy his Devdas turn?
That was really the only moment in the movie where I started to kind of lose paying
Interest?
attention because I was just like, stop. You know full well what you did. You knew
Yeah.
the risks and you lost. Like you gambled and you lost. Um, Stop whining.
Right.
But I was very moved in a positive way by so at the very end, Octavian has chased him to Egypt. Octavian's army has destroyed everyone in his camp somehow without
Yeah.
he has slept through it. Now, I don't know if he was supposed to have taken like a sleeping powder or whatever, but he has slept through the absolute massacre of everyone, including Martin Landau. And you're like,
I
oh
know.
no. But like your Roman soldier is going to happen.
Yeah.
Um, uh,
I also interpreted that as a lot of desertion, actually.
I assume so. I assume they were
Yeah.
into that too. And he charges into Octavian's army saying, who will fight me? Who will
Yeah.
an honorable death? And they won't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
he's like ice cold. I love it.
I know.
Love
And
it.
I was like, why won't they do it? Like, just finish him off. He has nothing left to live for. Like, do it. But they don't want to make him a martyr. And
It's
I was
interesting,
like,
right? Like how they choose to play out what Roman honor looks like. This film would have had a lot of is it in it,
is that, I know. It's like,
but it's
is
not really
that?
about her, so it doesn't bother me as much.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so great.
I
It was very
know.
moving to me. Like I didn't actually cry, but I was very invested in what happened to these people that have been dead for 2,000 years whose history I
Yeah.
picked up.
Yeah. No, I think that was it was weird because on the one hand I was a little bit irritated with Mark Anthony once he started going down the Devdas route.
Mhm.
Like he's drinking too much. Cleo even makes comments about how he's drinking too much. It's like, pull yourself together, man. And he's just like sulking and like keeps comparing himself to Caesar. I was like, well, you were never Julius Caesar. You were never going to be Caesar. Calm down and just accept your lot in life. But no, he just wants to walk around whining and sulking and everything. That's kind of around the time that I started getting very irritated with him. But at the same time, I just felt like his acting was so good.
Good. It's well, yeah.
Yeah. I
I've
also,
never like responded well to Richard Burton before, and I
mm,
haven't seen a ton of his stuff, but I have found him, sometimes the acting from different eras, you can kind of get into it, and sometimes you can't. And
yeah,
I've never gotten through kind of his style to the
yeah.
root of what he's saying, but here I was.
Yeah, it felt very modern to me. It didn't feel stilted at all. And there was one other scene where I was just kind of like, huh? Like it took me out of the movie for a second was the scene where Cleopatra has discovered that he has taken a wife, like he has married Octavia. Obviously, he's done for like a political alliance. He didn't mean anything by it, whatever, but like she cares about it.
Yeah.
And that big tantrum that she throws when she sees him and she yells at him, she's crying and she like falls almost to a swoon. And I was just kind of like,
Yeah.
that it was very dramatic. But then I was like, yes, but it's Cleo. Do you really expect less than dramatique?
Also, so one of the through lines of this for me was, and next time I watch it, and there will be a next time, I can't wait to kind of think about this all the way through. Is she playing them every single second until the very end? And I think she is.
Really?
Which doesn't mean she doesn't also love them, but I think she's pulling the strings the whole
Oh,
way.
yeah.
So I think her reactions, they might be genuine, but I think they are also kind of
Performative?
played, yeah, in a way that is trying to get a particular result. And I'm not sure she's always
Yeah.
successful, but I think she's always doing something. She's always,
Hmm. Crafty. I mean, that is true because I would say like the way I saw it, and I'm only talking about the movie and these
yeah,
characters. I'm not talking about the real history. But like to me, Caesar and Cleopatra, the way they're portrayed in this film seemed more well matched in that they're
I
both
agree.
rational and cool headed and they know what they want.
Yeah,
Whereas when I look at Cleo and Mark Anthony, I feel like Mark Anthony is head over heels in love with her, has no idea what, or just lust, whatever. He
yeah,
doesn't really know what he wants. He really struggles with like being in Caesar's shadow and wants everything Caesar has. Like he wanted Caesar's title. He also wants Caesar's woman. Like, it's less about Cleo to me and more about Mark Anthony's inadequacies and his own self-esteem and like
yeah,
the labels. Like imagine the label of saying you're sleeping with the Queen of Egypt. That's a big label,
mhm,
right? And I think one of the scenes that really showed me how she had him wrapped around his little finger was that one scene where he's talking about how, love and marriage, like affection and all of that, like in the light of his marriage to Octavia, which meant nothing.
yeah,
And she's just kind of really chill and cool about it. And he's the one who's very passionate and agonizing over stuff. And she's just kind of like, yeah, well, legacy and family and name.
yeah.
And he doesn't seem to get that, but also we must remember he's not a king, and he wasn't
No,
born to a royal throne, and he
no,
wasn't the representative of a great dynasty like she was. They literally come from different worlds. And I don't think he gets that either. Also, one other thing that really struck me was the love and the absolute passion with which Cleopatra refers to Egypt. Like
yeah,
whenever she talks about her home, she's like, my Egypt. One step out of this country is a step out of my Egypt. It doesn't matter where I go, it's my land. He doesn't seem to feel the same way about Rome.
no,
Like he'll desert Rome whenever he gets an opportunity. He'll desert his soldiers when he gets the opportunity. It really seems to me like for him, Cleopatra is the be all end all, and everything else comes after that. Whereas to her, it's her legacy, her name,
yeah,
her dynasty, and what she wants to pass on to her children. That's more important, and that's always going to be a power imbalance.
yeah,
She's never going to love him as much as she loves
yeah.
her identity, but his identity is basically just subsumed by her. So I kind of felt a little bit bad for him, but I was like, dude, you're way you're way out of your depth right now. Like you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's sad. Okay, do you want to talk about all the entrances this woman makes? So extra. I loved it.
I mean, the thing with the carpet when we first see her and Caesar is onto it, and it's very, very funny. Uh, the just every time she enters a room where the camera gets to her, whether she's static or not, it's just it's magnificent. It's
Hmm.
magnificent. The way the film is showing her handle on pageantry.
Yes.
And I think the film is suggesting that the character, again, not I don't know about the real one, but this character of Cleopatra, we don't really see her getting advice from people about how to do that. We don't meet
Hmm.
her stage manager. So it's kind of like we're left to assume she does this all herself,
Yeah.
like she dreams this all up and orders it done and everything. And we do see her like, there's times where she consults with a kind of a priestess character, but like you're almost a little bit behind the scenes back there with the smoke and the fire and the and
Yeah.
everything. But I was thinking about how much I enjoyed like thinking that she really did all this herself,
Like
had it
she's her own PR person.
right,
Yeah.
right.
And
She's not
you
being
know what?
managed by anybody.
Yeah, but like every time, like, and also it's like that anticipation, right? Like it's not just like we're waiting for the queen. Oh, here she comes. It's you're waiting and waiting. Like in that scene behind you, it's like there's the dancers, then there's more dancers, then there's the fire people, then there's the bongo drums, then there's the this. I almost expected Helen to come out in like a
I
cabaret
know.
outfit. Helen, Bindu, Arun Irani, all three of them. How wonderful would that be? And eventually she comes, but even then there's the Sphinx. She's riding on it and everything is happening. I mean, it's also the
Then
anticipation,
they
right?
have
Like
to
you're
lift her,
waiting,
and then they have to carry her down the
swivel
stairs.
her.
Like it's not just as soon as the Sphinx is there, she's there. No, no, no. There's several more steps.
It's crazy. And then there was also the ship, right? Like when she says she's going to come to Tarsus, but she'll still be in Egyptian waters because she won't leave Egypt. Because why should she leave Egypt? Like, screw you. And then Mark Anthony's like, fine, whatever. And then they're waiting for her. And then even the ship, there's these puffs of like pink smoke it's throwing out. And the women are like, throwing flowers. And I was like, this is
And
incredible.
it's gold, and it's got a stage, and it's got like a back bedroom that's pink,
Yeah.
and another room
Like,
that's
what a diva. It's like, it made me think a little bit of how witches are portrayed
yeah.
in popular culture. Like, a witch always, like, if you watch a Disney movie or anything like that, a witch always comes accompanied by like thunder and lightning and drama and like swish,
Puffs of
swish,
colored smoke and
puffs of
stuff.
color and smoke and like eerie omens and like static
Yeah.
electricity. Like witches don't just come. Their whole like arrival is like announced, and that like adds to that like emotionally charged atmosphere. And I was like, is the movie maybe even trying to tell us that there's something witchy about this woman? I would believe it,
But
especially.
I think the Romans would project that on her, right? That she's
Yeah.
exotic and kind of incomprehensible and like,
Well, she's also a heathen to them because of her gods,
yeah,
Isis or whatever. And she
yeah,
refers to herself as the daughter of
it's
Isis.
ISIS, yeah.
So it's like she's
And
definitely
they're
like,
kind of like, okay, whatever.
yeah. But
And
I
you're
love those
always like,
scenes.
and which divine family are you? Because you claim that you're descended from Venus, so
Yeah, exactly. I like that scene. And Julius Caesar was like, yeah, whatever. I don't want to talk about it. But I love the scenes with like that older crone where they're like putting the things in the flames and it was giving me like a little bit of like hocus pocus vibes. I think that added to the sort of like a magical mystery tour of Cleopatra. Cleopatra the musical. Wouldn't that be great, Beth?
It would be
I would
great.
die.
It would be great.
Yeah.
I did really enjoy the music in this. The background music is all super evocative and moody and
Hmm.
grand and everything. Um, wouldn't have hurt to have some songs.
Yeah. I would have loved some songs.
The opera of this, hello.
Or something like traditional Egyptian music or something would be
Right,
cool
right.
without going like the mummy route. But you know, they could have done some fun things with the soundtrack. Um, it was a little bit weird for me to be listening to all the English accents,
Well, we all know that historical people are all British.
right?
Doesn't matter where they're from. All historical people are British.
But it was like, okay, fine. So if we're gonna have like
Like Mark
Romans,
Landau is American. So like
right?
I had to look that up. I'm like, I thought he was from New York or something. He's American, so he's putting on this other.
But like, would it have killed them to have like one Cockney accent, Beth? I
Yes.
would have loved that. Well, I mean, come on, you can't. Okay, think about it. Michael Caine, right? And he plays he plays like a small role. I'm not saying make him Julius Caesar. I'm not saying make him Mark
Right.
Anthony. I'm not saying make him
He
Ptolemy.
could have been a wiseacre senator.
He could. He could have
Yeah.
been a senator.
Give him
And
a
then he
comic
says
line.
in his Cockney accent, he's like, well, that's a queen in it. I would have loved that. But we didn't have no Cockney
That's the
accents. We
queen
just
in
had
it.
these people. Yeah. Well, there's just these
So
people
great.
speaking in like the Queen's English. And I was like, no,
Right.
give me one Cockney person. You
No,
can do it. And they
no,
didn't. They just
did
kept it
not.
very, very elitist. I don't approve.
Where she sounds more or less American, I would say.
Yeah, I
The-
couldn't place her accent.
Yeah, she's
It
just
was very confusing to me. I was like, what is going on? Also, I always forget that Liz Taylor is British. I've seen her in so many like southern things because like the first Liz Taylor movie I ever saw was Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and that's of course based on a Tennessee Williams play. So I, for whatever reason, always thought of her as like a southern lady. And I have to like remind myself, no, she was actually English. Um, but then her accent throws me off. What did you think about the color or the complexion of these people? I was very confused.
So my first instinct was I thought they mostly looked normal, except it looked like Rex Harrison had either tanned a whole lot or they had slapped brown face on him for some reason.
Or bronzer.
Yeah, so he looked off to me, and then I texted you, and you said everyone looks off to you, and that Liz looked ashy a lot. I wasn't getting that, but I also have like a really old TV, so like maybe the way I don't know, like all these screens are different, right? So
Yeah.
I didn't have any particular thoughts on it other than Rex Harrison, but also I was so bedazzled by literally everything else that like even if I had noticed, I wouldn't have thought about it for more than a microsecond, I think. 'Cause I was like, but wait, over there, there's a third century this, that, or the other that they've morphed
Yeah.
and designed into a lamp or whatever, or a chandelier or whatever. I was so bedazzled by this film.
Oh, I discovered a factoid that you would find very interesting. And when I read it, I was like, of course, this makes so much sense. Can you guess what the color of mourning was in ancient Egypt? I would like to remind you that 90% of the world, well, 50% of the world thinks black is the color of mourning, and 50% of the world thinks white is the color of mourning. What do you think the ancient Egyptians associated with mourning?
I feel like I've actually read this somewhere, but I don't remember. Please tell me.
Gold.
Oh,
I was like, what?
why
That
not?
is why those tombs and everything are gold leaf. I was like, excuse me? Apparently, gold was the color of mourning. And I was like, this makes so much sense.
Well, then what does that
Um,
mean for people who can't afford gold? Do they not get to mourn?
no,
Them being recognized?
their life is a
But
mourning.
like, it's not only for mourning, right? Because here she is entering
Right.
Rome as a triumph, and she's not. She comes through that triumphal arch. I was like, I mean,
Yeah.
is there a more Yes Queen film than this? Like, I've ever wanted to say Yes Queen more in my life, and I know it's played out and stupid and whatever, but like, oh my God.
I did also watch a video of like a very short clip by this person who is actually an his like a historian, like he specializes in Egyptology, and he said that a lot of the artifacts that you see in this movie, like the vases and the whatever whatever, are actually very Egyptian inspired from that era. So whoever did the set design and art direction was doing proper homework.
So I was just looking that up because I think I'm sorry, I'm on the Wikipedia for this and I'm looking at they got they won the Oscar that year for Best Art Direction, Set Decoration,
Hmm.
and Color. And there's a whole bunch of them under that. There's a whole bunch of names, and they are absolutely astounding. And I kind of want to see what else they worked on so I could watch those too, because this is one of the most visually impressive films I've ever seen.
I know. It's
And
gorgeous.
one of the things I love about this is like, even in this clip I have behind me, if you're watching on YouTube, like you can see Liz Taylor is teeny tiny on this. She's like, this big in this giant thing. And I think there was something about the massive scale of all the set design and everything that did remind me that these people are human.
Hmm.
Right, they operate in these grand theaters, but they're so dwarfed by their surroundings and their
Yeah.
circumstances, right, that they seemed a little more human. And I think that helped me care more about the love triangle or the love sequence anyway, and her desire for her son to rule and like the humanity of that advisor, the historian advisor teacher that was with her sometimes, and like some of the so she's always with servant women, of course, and one of them does something she shouldn't, and like that scene, I was like, oh,
Hmm.
you know, um, so there were, I think that really helped reinforce their humanity somehow,
Yeah.
in
I
addition to
think
spectacle at the most insane scale.
but it was also like these characters were constantly consumed by this sense of empire.
Oh yeah,
Like they basically saw themselves as a cog in the wheel. Like, yes, they referred
yeah,
to themselves as like a queen or whatever, or like a Caesar or whatever, but they keep referring to how they are just one tiny bit in such a long legacy, right? So I was reading about the Ptolemaic dynasty, which she was essentially, for all practical purposes, the last person of
right,
that dynasty.
right.
And when Rome eventually conquered Egypt, which we see happen at the end of this movie, and then she commits suicide, that was essentially the end of ancient Egypt as we know it, because at that point, that history was like done. And I think that knowledge is part of their sense of self literally since they're born. She's never just Cleo.
No.
She is a representation, like the sum total of all these people and ancestors and
And even that is
cultures.
almost 300 years. But Cleopatra is further in time from the Great Pyramid being built than
Hmm.
we are from Cleopatra.
Yeah,
Like, you have 2,500 years of history in Egypt, like crushing you
yeah.
in terms of this being a kingdom. Um,
Hmm.
and obviously, everyone has 2,500 years of human history behind them,
Right,
way, 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 way more. But in terms of like this specific, like I don't know if we call it a state or a nation or whatever, right? Like
right.
the weight that she walks around with on her shoulders, in addition to the gold thing she's stuck on her head, or
Yeah,
like green crystal one. She's got like green crystal little
yeah.
job
That
teeth.
was cool too.
Like just this. Just, oh, the snakes.
Yes.
Snake decor on her clothing was so cool, and she had some snaky
Her
jewelry here and there.
jewelry, yeah. And then, of course, the famous scene
Yep.
with like the basket with the figs in it and the little. I was wondering how they
Love-
were going to do
I love that
that.
we don't see it.
I know. I was so certain because I saw like a National Geographic documentary ages and ages and ages ago, and in that one they did sort of like a historical like retelling or whatever, and
Yeah.
they showed her grabbing the asp, and they
Yeah.
basically show her like picking it up like that, and it bites her. And in this one, like she puts her hand in the fruit basket, and you can just see a little like motion, and
Move.
then her hand is in there, and the camera's on her face the whole time, and you
Yeah.
just see this
Never
twinge of
see a
like
snake.
pain.
Yeah.
I was just like, "Ooh."
Yeah.
It was
I
amazing,
love
all
how
the
much there
sneaky
is
stuff.
history that we know. Because if you didn't know that story, you'd be like, what happened to her? Right. But like,
Right. Yeah. Also, did you notice like the scarab beetles? Like once or twice she had necklaces that she wore in a diadem that she wore that also had the scarab beetles, which made me think, of course, of not her dynasty because they were Greeks, but the ancient Egyptians who were actually native ethnic Egyptians who were the ones that built like
yeah,
the
everything.
pyramids and all of that jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah, those folks actually cared so much about the scarab beetles, right? Because I think they were like supposed to be messengers of death or something.
Well, they push they don't they help, like the way the dung beetles push their little balls,
Oh
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
fun traveling and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So she had the beetle stuff. She had a lot of like insect stuff. She had the her costumes. Like, okay, a lot of those colors and those fabrics would not have existed at that time. There was a lot
Yes.
of chiffons and Georgias. There was a baby pink
I mean, it's
and a
like
lemon
the
yellow.
Nala in her baby pink in
Amrapali. I know. I was
like
like, is
don't
that
care.
lemon yellow Georgian
Love it.
Irene Shroff? Okay.
Love it. Don't care.
With like storks on it, but like I
That
loved it.
that like emerald green dress she had, there was almost like a bandage dress at the top.
Yeah.
It's super tight, and then like just a
Hmm.
more normal skirt. Like, oh, so
It was so beautiful. I loved
everything was
it.
so beautiful.
The one thing about this movie that like annoyed me a little bit, and then I did like a Google search and I was like, okay, fine, was that I felt like there was so much whitewashing. I mean, Cleopatra, one presumes, was Caucasian, I think. I don't know, because I mean,
Based
she
on what
was
I read, we
Greek.
don't really know, but she's Greek,
We don't know.
so
She's
more
Greek.
or less, she's a white person,
Yes,
probably. Although obviously, there's a lot of open to,
as were the Roman
and we don't have
generals and
her.
stuff.
We've not found her corpse,
DNA.
so like, it's not like we can test.
Yeah. But I was like, everyone in their armies and in her palace and
Yeah,
everything, it was just basically a sea of white. And the only time we saw actual like black people was when they were like carrying the thing and they were
yeah,
servants. And I was
yeah.
like, this is not sitting well with me. And then I Googled it and I I was I was reading about it, and they said that during the time of Cleopatra and during the Ptolemaic dynasty, they actually did very much put down
Yeah,
like the ethnic or the native Egyptians,
believe that.
and so they wouldn't have been in those kind of roles anyway. They, in
Right.
reality, would just have been relegated to being servants
Yeah,
or slaves or something.
yeah,
So it actually would be historically accurate to
yeah.
have that, and it would actually be inaccurate if you had black people like serving as like important people in the court. That just wasn't the way it was set up.
We
So I was like,
originally,
okay, fine.
yeah, no, I can believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
Hmm.
um any other thoughts on Cleopatra?
Everyone should watch this movie. It is 4 hours long. I did break it up over 2 nights. I think Pitu
I did too.
did as well. It has an interval put into it, which I think is original because I think it
Yeah,
looks like the way they treated that title.
the gold lettering. Yeah.
So you can rent this on YouTube for less than $4 US. It is an amazing time. Please watch it. It is
Hmm.
astounding. I can't wait to read more about the making of this film and like
Yes.
I would love to see a list of like all the historical artifacts that are inspiring the decor. Like I kept pausing to be like, I think that's from this. I think I've seen the picture of that in Greece or whatever, because I've never been to Greece or Egypt, but someday I have been to Rome. I want to know
Yeah,
more about where they filmed like this entry scene and the
I
battle.
know.
Everything was just so I was transported. I was transfixed. I loved everything.
So I was reading about it, and they shot in England, and then they had to spend about $6 million tearing down the set in England.
Oh,
Yeah, I know, just 6 million just to tear down the set in England. And then they also primarily shot at Cinecittà Studios in Rome. And if you go to
wow.
Cinecittà Studios in Rome, you can actually see like some of the artifacts from this movie.
Oh, I hope they still exist. So, I mean, there's so much. There was so much from this that you just saw it kind of in passing once or
Yes.
twice, and you're like, how many thousands of dollars was that one alligator gong or
Yeah.
crocodile gong or whatever?
So I was actually Googling, and you can actually find so many like old auctions that have since expired. Like in 2019, there was a whole bunch of costumes of
Oh,
Liz
wow.
Taylors from this movie that were put up for auction, and they
Wow.
sold for like $20,000 or whatever, and literally says like outfit worn by Elizabeth Taylor in this
I hope
XYZ
they're in the
movie.
museum somewhere so we can see them someday.
Yeah.
Really cool.
But that was really cool. And so it was shot in England, in Rome, and in America as well. They did consider shooting in Egypt, but they decided not to. So it was not shot in Egypt at all, but it mostly was just shot in those three countries. And they almost bankrupted the studio because it was so
Believe
expensive.
it. Even within the first like 10 minutes, I was like, yeah, so one of the most expensive looking things I've ever seen
Yeah.
ever in my life.
And it was the most expensive movie ever made at its time. And I actually Googled, I was like, yeah, okay, but what does this mean in like today's money, right? Like with inflation and stuff, 300 million is what that cost was in today's day. Liz Taylor's
Oh,
contract alone, she was paid $1 million for this role, and she got a share of the profits. So I was like, good job, Liz, get that back.
yes, Queen.
How amazing. But I was thinking, like, can you imagine being like an art director or being like a set designer or being a costume designer, and you're just like, I'm sure your job is not like the most glamorous job, and you're just like, outfitting like normal people in normal productions on a daily basis, like, oh, here's another hard-boiled cop detective story, and you have to put like the coppers in the costumes or whatever, and then you get a chance to work on something like this, and all of your like student days dreams can come true, and you can use the most gorgeous fabrics, and there is no budget, and you can do whatever the heck you want.
That scene where she's upset and she's slicing through a golden sheer curtain around a bed and like slicing it
Yeah.
with a knife. Oh God, it's so cool.
The wigs alone.
Yeah. And
Oh,
the
so
thing
Liz Taylor.
that wiggy, right? Like we know
Yeah.
the ancient Egyptians wore wigs. So there's that aspect, but it's not like, I don't know, they looked supremely beautiful and well made to look
Mhm.
artificial.
Right. So Joan Collins apparently was one of the people that they initially considered because she
Oh,
was under contract to the studio.
uh-huh.
And I was like, Joan Collins? Because I only know her from like those soap operas that she
Yeah,
did, right? The
yeah,
TV soaps.
yeah.
But yeah, so Liz Taylor apparently brought her American hairdresser to England for the shooting, and the English Hairdressers Association or whatever, they like threw a hissy fit and she wasn't allowed to use her or something like that.
Wow.
I was
Gotta
like,
keep
that is
on that
awesome.
list. Yep. Go unions.
I know. Yeah, I watched this movie in three bits. So my husband really wanted to see it again with me. So I was like, okay, fine. So we saw the 2 hours first. We hit the intermission. We were like, okay, we'll see this
It
tomorrow.
was
Then the
very
next
nice
day
of
we
them to
saw
put
one
the
hour.
interval at 2 hours, at almost
Exactly.
exactly half. I was like, thank you, Judy, you know.
I know. It was really good. Any parting thoughts about this movie?
Well, I have prepared a little something for you and our listeners. Are you ready?
I love
Are you
quizzes.
ready for Liz quiz?
Yes.
Once
Hit
the
me with
idea
it.
of Liz quiz popped into my mind, I couldn't put it down. So, as others of you may know, my actual name is Elizabeth. I have always gone by Beth. This is Elizabeth Taylor, perhaps the greatest Elizabeth of all time. There are many interesting Elizabeths through history. It's an incredibly
This is
common
true.
name anywhere where there is the Bible or like Jewish scripture. It's a super common name for the monotheistic religions.
Right.
That's all over the world. I'm going to be focusing on mostly Anglophone Elizabeths. But I have a little quiz. Now, some of them are about Elizabeth Taylor, some of them are not. So,
Okay.
okay, you've actually already covered my first question, which was what benchmark did she reach in her contract for this? And it was the $1 million.
The $1 million
I read
and the
somewhere that
back profits.
due to how long it took to film, it worked out about $15 an hour in 1960s money, which is about $160 an hour today, which doesn't sound like that much for a mega movie star.
Yeah.
Um, okay, this is a little bit more on Liz Taylor history because I figured you would have read up on the film, so I didn't want to ask you about that. So,
Okay.
um,
Sneaky.
Liz Taylor is credited with saving the life of what fellow actor?
I did not know she had this in common with Sunil Dutt.
Yes,
Um,
she does.
Richard Burton?
Montgomery Clift, who had a car accident on his way to a party where she was. They were very close friends. She ran out and like pulled his broken teeth and stuff out of his mouth so he wouldn't choke and
Oh,
like held
gosh.
him until the paramedics came. Yeah.
Oh, what did you think of the scene where Julius Caesar is having an epileptic seizure and his servant or whatever the person he is comes running to him and puts the thing in his mouth so he doesn't choke on it?
I don't even remember.
Yeah, there was a scene where Julius Caesar was
Whoa.
basically having a seizure, and Cleo watches all of this,
There's
probably filing it away so she can use it.
yeah. Ooh, my
Yeah.
rental is going to be due in like two hours. So if I can go run back and try to see it, that's really cool. I wonder if he
Yeah.
was historically known as an epileptic
He
or
was, I believe.
have epilepsy, excuse me.
Actually, they said that he was known also, I think, for having mini strokes or something.
I mean, it's a pretty stressful job to be Caesar.
Yeah.
Okay. Liz was a tireless campaigner for what cause starting in the mid 1980s until her death?
Oh, HIV awareness and AIDS.
Mhm. What publication accused Liz and Richard Burton of erotic vagrancy during the filming of Cleopatra?
It was the Vatican's
Yes,
newspaper.
that's right, the Vatican newspaper.
I loved it. I was like, erotic vagrancy. Write that on her tombstone.
There's a book about them that's called that. I was like, yes, correct. Okay. For what cartoon character did Liz Taylor voice a significant one-word line?
For a cartoon character.
This might be my favorite Liz Taylor trivia.
Can you give me a clue?
I suspect you've seen this show. It is a long-running American animated show,
Oh, so probably The Simpsons.
correct?
And then is she is she the little girl? Lisa?
She's Maggie. There's an episode where Maggie
Oh,
says her first word and it's daddy. And that's
oh, that's cute.
and apparently they had to give her a lot of takes because it kept coming out sexy. And they're like, no, no, no,
Oh.
this is your dad.
Oh,
Because
dear. Oh
anything
dear.
Taylor says is sexy, right? So, okay. Moving on to some other Elizabeths.
Okay.
Elizabeth I of England was, like me, a great fan of sweets and the miracles made possible by cane sugar, which became increasingly available in England during her lifetime. What gourmet treat was Elizabeth I's favorite sweet? I don't expect you to get this because this would never even occur to me, but like, what's the most like ridiculous royal sugary thing you can think of? Oh,
Like
what is the most?
treacle pudding or something. Sticky
Can-
toffee pudding.
Candied violets.
Oh, good Lord. Okay.
Liz Taylor with her purple eyes. Maybe she liked that.
Yes.
Unlike me, Elizabeth I was able to read or speak 7 languages. How many can you name? I have
So
the
she
list here.
probably, obviously English,
Mhm,
Latin, I assume,
mhm.
German, I assume,
That is
French,
not on the list,
probably.
confusingly. French, yes.
Not German?
Not German, according to the Royal
Oh,
Palace's website.
I would assume Italian,
Yes.
because if she can speak Latin, Italian's not that hard to pick up. So that's five.
Who else are they fight? Who are they fighting all the time during her time?
The Scots. She
Well,
wouldn't
yes,
know
but
Gaelic. That would be beneath her.
how would you jeer at the Armada?
Oh, Spanish.
Mhm. And then, okay,
I
Greek,
don't expect her to know like Arabic or anything. Greek, yeah, because it's like closer.
Welsh.
Welsh, okay.
Oh, girl, that's a hard language.
All those consonants, no vowels.
Okay, now we're on to some other Elizabeths. This
Okay.
American feminist refused to say the traditional vow of obey during her wedding in 1840.
In
Now, I know you
1840.
did not grow up in American schools, so I'm not really sure that you will know this, nor would I expect you to, but I just was fascinated by this fact.
Elizabeth Browning?
Elizabeth Cady Stanton.
Okay. I do not
Um,
know who that is.
oh, okay. So she's one of the 19th century feminists with Susan B. Anthony,
Okay.
that kind of thing. This Elizabeth's poetry was beloved during her lifetime, and one of her pieces inspired Poe's structure in The Raven.
Oh, like Edgar Allan Poe. Browning.
Yeah, that's Browning.
Yeah.
Mhm. Elizabeth Blackwell was the first woman to earn a medical degree in the United States in 1849 after being denied admission to all but one medical school where she was admitted as a practical joke. What rank did she graduate among her classmates?
In medical school?
Mhm. Where was
Like
she on the
just,
class list?
oh, she was probably like number one.
She was
It's
number
like
one.
honor roll society,
Assholes. She was number one.
valedictorian.
Yep.
Nice.
Okay, now for another acting Elizabeth. Betty Davis was in court against her film studio Warner Brothers to try to get out of her exclusive contract with them. She lost the case, but 2 major improvements happened anyway. Can you guess what good things happened to her after that legal
To
drama?
Betty Davis?
Hmm.
Um, I mean, she got out of her contract, so did she make?
She didn't get out of the contract,
Oh, she didn't.
but things improved anyway, miraculously.
Maybe she went ahead and made movies like Whatever Happened to Baby Jane and got
Much
accolades for it. Okay, yeah.
so sure, her salary demands were actually met anyway, and she got some more meaty roles. She had recently won an
Okay.
Oscar, and they had been like giving her crap. Okay, this Liz was the first woman to head a Fortune 500 company, and this is related to your line of work.
Oh, Arden.
Oh,
Elizabeth Arden.
Liz Claiborne.
Okay.
Okay. Did this Liz, the shortest serving prime minister in British history, outlast a lettuce?
Liz Thatcher. No, that was Margaret Thatcher.
This one
Oh,
was
I
very
know this
recent.
person.
Yeah.
This was a very short-lived PM,
Oh,
Elizabeth.
so I'll tell you her name, but you tell me if she outlived the lettuce. Liz Truss.
Oh yeah, Liz Truss.
Did
Okay.
she last longer than the lettuce?
I don't know.
She did not.
Okay.
She stepped down on her 50th day in office, and the lettuce had not yet wilted.
Ah, okay.
Okay, now we have 2 more Elizabeths. They're fictional.
Okay.
This fictional Elizabeth said, and you can stop me when you know,
This has to be a Jane Austen
there are a few
guess.
people whom I really love, and still fewer of them of whom I think well. The more I see of the world, the more am I dissatisfied with it, and every day confirms my belief of the inconsistency of all human characters and of the little dependence that can be placed on the appearance of merit or sense.
This feels like something Lizzie Bennett would say.
Correct, Lizzie Bennett. And then this fictional Elizabeth voiced such lines as, "Nope, hipster nonsense. I want to go to there." And, "Hey, nerds,
Liz Lemon,
who's got two
pretty
thumbs,
rock.
limited French, and hasn't cried once today? This moi."
I love I want to go to
Yay!
there.
Very good job
Yay!
on Liz quiz.
Thank you. What a fun quiz that was.
There's so many interesting Elizabeths just because there have been so many of us that it's just proportional, but there's
And you
a lot.
didn't even give me like a the queen a guess about the queen.
No, I don't think Elizabeth II was actually super duper interesting in a way that would be fun
Mhm.
for a quiz.
Right. True that.
Like I'm not saying she's not interesting, and obviously, what the changes that she was around for, but like the royals are so increasingly irrelevant in the 20th century. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
you know,
Her corgis are interesting. I will say that.
it is interesting that Liz Truss was the shortest serving prime minister in British history, and Liz II was the longest serving monarch.
Monarch, yeah, that's true. Interesting.
Yay.
Yay. Okay. So what I know that this is not a superstars episode, but did you think about any ice cream
I mean, she
for
has to
Liz
be, she
or
has to be
Cleo?
something. Oh, well, Cleo is like whatever gold foil. Like we've talked about silver fork on things, but like we need gold, 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 gold.
All the gold, edible gold only.
And I have some sense of what foods were available in ancient Egypt, although my knowledge is about earlier times than this. So I don't know what the most expensive spice was, whatever that was. Like that's the ice
Right.
cream recipe is with gold over it.
It's like it doesn't even need to taste good. Just put honey, pomegranates, figs,
Yeah,
gold leaf,
yeah.
saffron, call it a day. That's it.
Yeah,
That's your
saffron came to mind as well. Yeah. And I know that the ancient Egyptians traded to get things from the Himalayas, for example. So it
Mhm.
could have been saffron for all I know.
Yeah, have fun. Okay. I think that concludes this episode of Filmi Ladies. What a fun episode. I'm so glad we did this movie. It was so exciting.
Because
Um,
it's been like, oh, someday I'll watch that. So I was so glad to have a specific time frame to watch it in. I loved everything about it. Please watch the
it
movie.
was also good to have a deadline because the four
Yeah.
hours at first were alarming. I mean, I have watched 3 hour long Hindi films,
Oh
but
yeah.
at least with some of the 3 hour long Hindi films, you can fast forward the songs, but there were no songs in this to
Nope.
fast forward. So I was like,
And if you had
oh my
fast
God,
forwarded this musical sequence of the grand entry, you
never.
would be very sad and not forgive yourself because it's amazing.
That would not be okay. Okay. Well, we very much encourage you to watch this movie. I know it's not a Bollywood movie, but like whatever, it's very filmy. We loves it. It's very masala. It's just if for no other reason, do it for the eye candy.
Oh
Even
yeah,
if you don't care about the plot,
great.
just do it for the eye candy. It is so pretty. Sajid Lila Bansali would have nightmares. Actually, let's not show him this movie because then the next movie he makes, he's going to do that.
Although I would
But
watch a big Hindi spectacle about ancient Egypt. I absolutely would watch that.
I mean, Sikandar alone like cannot sustain us forever. We need more.
I do have a YouTube playlist of Indian film songs set around ancient Egypt or using ancient Egypt iconography and stuff. I will put that in the comments in case anybody wants to look at it. It's pretty fun. There are a lot of them.
I think the main one I can think of is Suraj Hua Madham with like
Right.
the pyramids in the background and like Shahrukh sheer, very international male shirts.
But there's a lot of like, Hema Malini comes out of a Sphinx head for a big dance number and stuff like that. Yeah. So there are
And
many.
like all of the, that stuff that feels very common in the carpets and the everything. I also have like
The
such
little
a strange,
pool,
huh?
the little pools like Cleo has in her palace and like
Yeah.
serving people with golden pitchers and the big, big drums and yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for watching Filmy Ladies. And please go and watch this movie. You're going to have so much fun, I promise you. And then tell us what you thought. And if you were to remake this movie in Bollywood, whom would you have cast as Cleopatra? I'm so curious to know. I would, of course, have cast Vajanti Mala as Liz Taylor because I cannot think of
Yeah,
anyone else as
she's
being
great.
so queenly and wonderful. We know she can rock some gold. Or Rekha. Vajanti Mala or Rekha would be my picks, I think. But yeah. Who are you thinking of, Beth?
Well, yeah, I was thinking Rika. I was thinking Taboo, although we'd have to kind of time travel to make that
Yeah.
happen ideally, I think. But yeah, all three of those are choices I can very well imagine. As much as I love Sri Devi and it was fun to watch her in Pulli, which is kind of the closest I've seen her do to something like this, that
Or like Khuda Gawah has a little bit of that going on.
right, but like not quite,
Yeah.
but you know, it's just so
She's
fun
too
to visit.
cheerful. All right. Thank you for watching, Filmy Ladies. Bye.